What's up, man?
How you doing?
Thanks for coming to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, dude.
Dude, it's funny. We were talking before the podcast about like all the intricacy of Riverside and how it's like, oh, you know, this person and that person. When you've lived here, I'm about to move back to Orange Crest where I grew up.
Okay.
If you would have told me 20 years ago that one day I'd be living like 3 blocks from my parents' house, like I'd be like, no, never. But I don't know why. I've never left.
No, it happens, dude.
It does. So why don't you tell everyone who you are, man?
So, Jake Sirokman, 41 years old. I've lived quite the life, dude. It's a good thing this is 60 minutes because I could probably talk about myself for 2 hours, although I hate talking about myself.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in the health and fitness industry. Started off just like any other person. Came straight from a heavy metal band. That's
Perfect.
how normal personal trainers.
Yeah, of course,
become.
obviously.
But in detail, man, no, after two months of high school, started a heavy metal band with some of my good friends. We ended up touring the world, 49 states, 18 countries, music videos, Ozfest, the whole thing. And, you know, obviously with that lifestyle comes a lot of drugs and alcohol. For sure. It comes with the job description. So as much fun as we had, we also tore our bodies down. So I think once we stopped touring in 2008, getting healthy and getting fit was a priority. I probably would have been dead if it wasn't for that reason. So I fell in love with cooking, became a chef, then fell in love with fitness at a local gym in Riverside. I had a good mentor, Josh, who kind of led the way for me. Became a personal trainer, ran some gyms, owned a gym, got into CrossFit, and owned the gym for 5 years. Ended up selling a couple of years ago, right before COVID. Kind of fell off a wagon a little bit, started drinking a little too much, kind of lost my purpose. Dated the wrong girl after a divorce. For sure. And without that experience, I wouldn't be where I am now, which is Second Life Health and Fitness. Second Life meaning I got that second chance to kind of rebuild with a purpose. Yeah. So now my wife and I, we both run an online fitness and health company. I've probably helped over some 1,000 people, but in return, they've helped me a lot more. So that's kind of the gist of it.
Yeah. Why do you think it is about rock and roll or just music and just like that lifestyle that always leads to alcohol and drugs? Like it's almost like everyone assumes that's where it goes, so it's just like, well, this is what we're gonna do.
I don't know. I was never peer pressured, but as a vocalist, I was never a confident dude. I was never in shape. I was probably the biggest dude in the band. So facing crowds of anywhere from 400 to 4,000 people, those nerves got to me a lot, man. And I was fighting my own demons back then. So alcohol just kind of masked it, I guess. It was a Band-Aid. But then comes one bottle Jack. I mean, I've got it tattooed on me. My stage name was Jake Daniels. One bottle a night turned into 2 bottles, which turned into 3, which turned into no sleep. And it was just this vicious cycle. You had to constantly just kind of one up yourself. And living that life, you'd go out in the crowd after the show and you'd have 40 people trying to buy you drinks. And you can't look like
you can't say no.
You can't say no. You could say, nowadays I say no. I'm going on sobriety now, but I didn't know any other way back then. I was 21. Yeah. I mean, I would wake up in New York, wake up in Boston. Every morning we're in a different state. And for a 21-year-old, that's every kid's dream that want to be in a band.
And at that point in time, you can rage so hard it doesn't even matter.
We raged.
Now if I eat bad too late, I wake up the next day like, whoa.
If I think about bad food, I get heartburn, dude.
Literally, I'm like, oh, I should not have ate that last night before bed. It's a struggle street.
Dude, the disciplines when I have to cook my kids mac and cheese and you've got that spoon, you're like, well, it's just a bite.
Yeah, I know. What's one?
I mean, I do have cheat meals. Obviously, right now I'm in a bulk phase, and we'll get to what I've been doing. But it's true, man. The older you get, obviously my kids are older now, so it's not about me anymore. It's about them. So I kind of set the standard on that. And that's where I've been the last year, is just really focusing on becoming a better person.
Yeah. Do you so you stopped doing that in 2008. What was that transition from living that lifestyle? Like, I was in professional baseball for 10 years. Awesome. So I lived on the road. It's kind of the same lifestyle, every 3 days, different hotel. And like, it was great when I was 21, but then when I got to 27, I'm like, all right, this is kind of getting old. So for you, I had a weird transition when I got home because I was so used to like being in a hotel, sleeping in,
You got a hotel?
Yeah, exactly.
We get hotels.
Oh, yeah. And they weren't the greatest, but
sure.
To be able, like, when I would come home, like that transition time was kind of tough. Like I would battle some demons when I would come home because I wasn't used to other people.
Yeah.
Or
I don't want to compare it. I've never been to prison. I've had a lot of friends come out of prison, but it's almost that mentality, man. I was still living, even though I was home, I was living out of a backpack.
Yeah.
Anytime people still make fun of me because I bring my backpack everywhere because that's how it was on the road. It's like you had to shove as much stuff in this
into
bag,
one carry-on.
If you're going to get a shower, if you were going to make it into a hotel. We lived on a bus. We went from 2 vans to 2 RVs to then a bus. So we were fortunate to have the bus and our own bunks and all that stuff. But no, the transition was, it's still different because I miss it. I do miss it. You're with.
What do you miss about it?
Just the freedom. I mean, even though I have time freedom
it's
now,
different.
It's different. I mean, would I go back and do it right now? No, I could not survive. But just being in your early 20s with 8 of your best friends, waking up in different cities, camping, the people you meet, that was one of the biggest, man. The stories you would hear, we'd be in Germany, these different countries, man, and just different languages, and hearing these stories, or somebody coming up and telling me how much my lyrics influenced them and how it got them out of trouble. And that's really what I wrote the songs about, was my own personal endeavors. So it was rewarding. So coming home and the transition of everyone knowing your name in town, or being that dude and that guy from this band, and just kind of becoming a regular civilian, I guess you could say. But now I look at it and it's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, I definitely miss, like I'm going to the All-Star game in 2 weeks because my boy's working it. But I miss that, like having your friends every day.
Yeah.
And then 2, I miss being told like where to go every day. Like you're going to be here, and like probably the same thing, like you're going to this city, the concert starts at this time, you have to be like, same thing. It was like, you're in this city for 3 days, it's then you go to the next. Now I'm like, okay, what are we doing next week? What day is it? What are we like? I miss that so bad.
I think I'm very structured now because of the way we lived. It was almost like military, dude.
It was.
Thank God we had an amazing tour manager, funny man Jeff. He was our roadie, our bus driver, our stage manager, collected the money, helped us sell the merch. So we were very spoiled. We'd basically just wake up at like 2 p.m. like, where are we? And he'd give us the itinerary, like, what time sound check? All right, cool. Just boom, go straight to the bottle. We have 4 hours to get as completely annihilated as possible. Make sure we could get up on stage, play the hour, and then back on bus for a 2 a.m. bus call.
Yeah.
So
I think it's the hard part about in society is that we see these people like on stages or doing big things or running companies or whatever, and they look so confident. Yeah. But everyone battles with the demons.
100%.
But it's almost like, what is the crutch you use to battle the demon with?
Yeah.
That's where like the difference is. Some people, it's like they're battling, they're stressed out, they go work out.
Yeah.
Some people eat. Yeah. Some people drink. Some people go to other drugs. Like, it's like, how do you step out from the stress?
It's I mean, I do work out quite a bit now living a sober life and giving up drugs and alcohol. That was my go-to. I mean, you do face demons, and when you're on the road, you don't tell these people you meet every night or your band members, hey man, I'm really struggling with something.
Do you think that's because of being men? That we struggle with.
For us, it's the alpha. I mean, I was a heavy metal vocalist, so I screamed, and everyone's like, "Why are you so angry?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm not angry." But then a lot of it was pain. A lot of it was, I lost my dad at an early age. We lived a hard life. You could go on with every excuse in the book, but at the end of the day, it was you're just masking something that you don't talk about with your friends, and people still do that. And that's why I think I've become a mindset coach than more of a fitness coach, is because once you go, and I just did a story, once you find out the underlying pain somebody's going through and why they need the help, that's when you can really unravel the layers and get deeper inside of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Not to get too crazy, but
no, it's the truth.
That's really what I've been focusing on as a coach, is how can I be the best coach possible for these people. And I'm thankful for living such an incredibly hard life. Not that everyone dreams of being a heavy metal band, but it gets old. When you play 240 shows a year for 6 years and you don't see home, you miss Thanksgivings, you're not around loved ones. Yeah. Who knows what the girlfriend...
It's like anything else. Every life has its challenges. Yeah. Even when you see those, like, that's something I try to remind myself all the time, is when I see someone like whatever, it's like, would I even want to do what that person had to do to get there? Yeah. It's like when people are like, I want to make $1 million a year. Like, would I even want to put the work in to make that $1 million a year? Yeah. It's, people probably look at you, I want to be in great shape. Do you realize the work? Like, I was in really good shape in 2020. I did a thing with my buddy who's a personal trainer or whatever. And I was like single. No, like all I did was wake up, work out, eat the same thing every day, come to work, that was it. Yeah. Now my girl's like, it's really messed up. Like, you eat pizza every day for lunch. Yes, I do. And I heard it, folks. But here's the thing, and I'll tell you why I do it. But then she's like, you're single, you're shredded. Now you're with me, and you're not. And I was like, babe, I had no responsibilities. I only worried about myself. I live 3 blocks from my office. I cook by myself every single day. I only worried about myself. It's like professional. I'm really into professional bodybuilding, actually. Okay. You would not think I am, but I really am.
No, that's cool.
Like the Olympia and C-Bomb and all those guys. C-Bomb. Yeah.
I never thought I'd be so into bodybuilding. I mean, for me, CrossFit was where it was at because the community, the people, and I'll look at bodybuilders and be like, that dude's, excuse my language, a douche, or whatever it is. And now that I did a couple physique comps last year, which I never thought, I never thought I'd get a spray tan and put that kind of commitment, but I knew at 40 years old, getting married, I had to do something drastic. So for me, I had to become obsessed with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's this obsession.
Although I lived a life of fitness the last 12 years, I wasn't obsessed with it. Although I was at my CrossFit gym 12 hours a day, 7 days a week.
It's a different level.
It's a different level when you really just I had to get selfish.
It's selfish.
I told my kids and my wife, I said, hey, Daddy, I'm going to take about a year off. I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to be tired. I'm going to be grumpy.
Yeah.
But I have to do this to become a better man. Mm-hmm. And I think the reward I got out of just sacrificing those few months out of the year, I can't even explain it. Words can't explain the better man I become because of it. And that's what I try and tell my friends is, if you really want it, you got to become obsessed with it. I see so many dudes wake up every day of their life, running Groundhog Day, doing the same thing. They're miserable. They're drinking on the weekends. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what they want. But deep down, most of those dudes don't want that because I know them, and they want something better. So that's where we start unmasking those layer after layers, to where they become obsessed.
The issue is I like using fitness a lot for people is because it's like, I think the difference between like really successful people and not is like, I'll work my ass off and I think I deserve that because I'm doing so much work. And then most people is, I deserve it. Then I'm going to work a little bit. Yeah. It's like the opposite mindset of like, I made a joke on Monday. I'm like, I keep telling myself like, I just ran a marathon. I'm like, why did I not I trained for a marathon for 16 weeks, ran a marathon, right? But I didn't change my diet at all.
Yeah.
And so I lost a little bit of weight, but not a lot because I was still eating pizza. The reason I eat pizza, this is why, I swear to God. The reason I eat pizza, and I believe this in anything, is that it's all about, what's the word I want to say? Like how easy something is. Mm-hmm. If that pizza wasn't made by the slice and wasn't ready the second I walked in every single day, I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't wait.
Convenience.
It's convenience.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to tell people. If you're trying to reach a goal, try to make it as convenient as possible. Like this room, this is used real estate right here. Obviously, we could have a team in here or whatever. But if I had to put up a podcast room every time I want to shoot a podcast, I would never do it. Yeah. Same thing with anything else. It's like if I have to make any effort, you're just not going to do it. It's human nature.
It comes down to habit, though. Once you create that habit, it becomes so much easier, and that's what I have to do. I'm so structured, and people call me OCD, but that's the way I have to do. Not that I'd fail if I didn't do it, but it makes it that much easier. And so when I explain to somebody starting a fitness routine or any routine, most of the people are already leaders. They're a CEO, they're a manager, they're a boss. You have what you do every day. It's just flipping that script a little bit and just adding those things, because you didn't become the owner of a company just by not building habits and not becoming successful. It's because you created yourself and did the things and put the things in place to get where you are now. Mm-hmm. So I tell them, let's just adjust that one little thing, even if it's just meal prep on Sunday, 2 hours, something just that small. And it's like, you're a leader. It's time. Let's go.
Well, and then the other issue is that business is probably what they're really good at. Fitness is they're not.
Yeah.
So effort is so much easier here.
Yeah.
So to do this takes, like my buddy Zach, he's so strong, and I'm like, I hate you, and he's like, I'm like, you work. I'm like, yes, you work out, but you're freaking strong.
Yeah.
You're a natural athlete.
Some people have
who was it? What was his name? I think his name was Nick. I don't, if obviously he's not watching this, but I had a guy who I had in spring training with me, and he was a CrossFit guy and whatever. He taught me how to double under, thank God to him. But it was like, he was just that guy. Yeah. He could front squat 3 plates. Yep. He could double under 80, 100 in a row. He was just that dude. Yeah. He could backflip, front flip. He was just super athletic. So he loved going to the gym. Of course. Yeah. Why would he not love going to the gym? You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny you say that too, is I was never, what's the word for it? Genetically gifted.
Yeah.
I mean, I was always an overweight kid, and it's funny. I played sports. I played baseball, football, basketball, hockey, wrestled, you name it. And I was, I don't want to say average. I was good at everything. I wasn't excellent, but I was good. I was a decent football player, middle linebacker, started varsity my freshman year, wrestled, kept my 170 every week. I had to wrestle for my spot. I got it. but I didn't look the part.
Yeah.
I didn't eat bad. I didn't even start drinking beer till I think I was like 17 or 18. But even you could see pictures of me in high school, man. Like I was hanging out with all the water polo football players, and they're just
shredded.
I'm sitting there with my tank top on in the background, like, what am I doing wrong, dude? I drink as much as they do. I'm eating the same foods they are, and I think that's what's got me to be such a great coach is because I've been through it.
You're not the genetic freak.
I'm still not. I still like, I don't walk around with a six pack. I'm not 10% naturally. Like I'll shoot up to 18%, but my education has become so much better and stronger, and I've learned so much more because of what I've had to do, even to be a physique competitor last year, is go above and beyond. And that's why I've become so like crazy about it. Because if I'm not that, I'm just going to be, I always had that, what do I call it? I'm kind of into fitness, but it looks like I'm into tacos too, kind of dude, which I didn't care. I always was so, for the 12 years I was doing this, I was like, I'll never have a six pack. I don't want to work for the six pack. I don't have the genetics, and I'd blame everything but putting the work in to get the six pack. And finally, that's what I was saying about last year, was getting selfish and going, I'm going to get a six pack. I deserve.
Well, I think you got to go really hard.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing too. You got to go really hard for a good amount of time, and then you can taper off.
Yeah.
It's not the other way around.
Well, it was hard, even though I've worked with a great coach here in Riverside, Justin, over at Elite. He got me to where, he believed in me more than I believed in myself. But he's like, I went in, I'm like, here's the goal. When's the next comp? Let's do this. He goes, are you ready for this? I'm like, I'm ready. I committed 5 days a week, dialed in my macros. But that's kind of where, where we're leading into this conversation, is just that's what I had to do to get that. Mm-hmm. So
it's just goes back to like how bad you want it.
Yeah.
It really does. It's very, and you probably deal with this a lot in the fitness world, is like people sit there and tell you, I want this and I want that, and then you got to find out, like, well, why do you want it? Is it a big enough reason?
That's it. That's the first thing I ask somebody. It's not about how much you weigh, like, can you afford this? It goes, what is your why, and why do you want to do this? If it's, I got a wedding next month and I'm the best man. Okay, well, do you want this for life? Well, no, I just want to get shredded in like 30 days. I'm like, I'm probably not the right guy for you, because I'm not going to give you 30 days. I need at least a 6-month commitment. I need a better why. Like the good why is, I want to be alive and stick around for my kids. I want to feel better. I want to be able to tie my shoes without breathing heavy. I want to be attractive for my wife. I want to be a better person. Then I'm like, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's do this. But if it's, hey man, you have like a 30-day get shredded, I'm like, no. Or hey man, like, try to do keto. No, you probably should do keto. You know what I mean? So if do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
as far
of course.
Like, I'm glad you said the why, because that is my why, was my kids. My stepdad, thank God, he never drank. So I always looked up to him as a person. And there would be the mornings I'd wake up and I'd be a little hungover for my kids, and I wasn't the man that I should be.
You're not sharp.
They'd go, Dad, let's go play. And I'm like, Dad, you watched UFC fights last night. Like, just leave me alone, And one day, just like, my daughters, now they're getting older, and they just kind of looked at me. I'm like, you are a POS. Like, let's go, dude. Like, stop being that guy, And that was my why. My family, my wife deserves better, my friends. And I say it every day on my stories. I'm like, I live a purpose. My passion is health and fitness, to make people better. So, yeah.
Well, because everything goes with it. Like, I'm like, everything kind of goes with it. It leads to confidence. I truly believe confidence is the number one. I don't care what you're doing. If you're confident in what you're doing, you will succeed. Yeah. Like, true confidence, not like blind confidence where you're like in the mirror, like, I'm the greatest, and then you really know you're not. I think confidence, and I think that's the confidence. So it's like, okay, if working out is going to give you confidence and make yourself look better, and then your clothes fit better, will that lead to more sales? And then more sales leads to more money, and what does that more money does? Like, that's kind of the thing.
Sure.
That I've always led to it, but it's one of those things where sometimes it's hard because, like, life balance. Like, I don't like. Here's the question I have for you, honestly, because this is a problem that I have. I hate lifting in the morning. Are you a morning guy lifter?
No.
My girl can get up. I swear to God, she's a beast. She gets up at 4:45, up, gym clothes, at the gym, and I'm like, we put a coffee bar in our bedroom, so I don't have to go downstairs for coffee. Coffee in bed. So then I was like, I was up at 4:45 with you tomorrow. She was like, up? You were in bed. I went to the gym. And I'm like, I'm just not that guy. Yeah. So I really need to start working on bringing stuff here, train in the middle of the day, shower there, come back.
Yeah.
Because like you can't train at night.
I do have my structure. I get up, and what I've learned, and I learned this last year, I think it was Andy Frisella or somebody that told me, like, don't let your phone dictate your day. So I don't wake up and go check Instagram and then see the weird political posts or one of my friends complaining. Like, I try and I'll find like some good quotes. I'll read a couple of scriptures, stuff like that. And then that kind of sets my mood for every day. Every day I have my rhythm. I get up and I do a really cool, quote or story and back that up. And then I'll do a live, but I do my morning walk, 45 minutes, nothing crazy, but I'm taking, some caffeine to get me going.
Yeah.
I don't set my alarm clock, which I finally got to a place, which is amazing. I don't have to wake up to alarm clock. So
what time?
So normally I'm up anywhere between 5 and 6, depending on what time I went to bed, which is crazy for me because I was never a morning person. If someone's like, oh, I get up at 5 and I just rock the day, I'm like, you're dumb, dude. What do you mean, dude? Like, why do you get up so early? That's just more food. That's just more stress. But now I just naturally wake up on my own, kind of lay there. I'll do my post. I'm out the door by like 7 or 8 to do my walk, get back, take my time, and then I hit the gym around 11. Because about the afternoons when I kind of start fading, so I feel like that 11 o'clock.
I tell you that.
I can waste no time, because I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. I can waste no time, because I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. I can waste no time, because I gotta keep it tight. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me.
11 to 12 is such a great window.
It helps my 3 p.m. crash so much more now because you see me right now. Like, if I didn't work out, I would be like, hey, so.
Well, just for me, it's like almost also the perfect window. Yeah. Time versus energy. Like, there's no one there. I struggle lifting in the morning. I just feel really weak in the morning. I don't feel like I move.
If I work out hard like that in the morning, I feel it later on in the day. So I have to do like the late morning, early afternoon workout.
Do you do intermittent fasting? No, you don't. Do you believe in it, or you just don't, it doesn't fit your?
I feel whatever you're consistent with is good for that person. So when someone's like, should I intermittent fast? I'm like, well, can you continue doing that for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Or do you need to eat breakfast every morning? So I tell people whatever they're going to do it long enough to reap the benefits of it. So most people, they skip breakfast, or some people eat breakfast right when they get up, and it's like whatever works for you, you just have to be consistent.
Yeah.
Same thing with low carb. I'm not a hater on paleo or low carb, but you have to do it all the time. You can't go 5 days and then go have a piece of cake. You're going to kick yourself out of that fat burn.
I don't like the keto flu. I don't feel like my body works. I think that's the other thing too, is why probably fitness is so hard, is that everyone is so different. Yeah. There's no, and it's almost trial and error. You have to try it, but give yourself enough time to try.
Yeah.
And then you got to be like, okay, did this work for me? Did this not work for me?
And I've done, like I said, I've been overweight. I've done Atkins. I've done Nutrisystem. I've done Jenny Craig. I've done Weight Watch. I've done them all because I just always try to find that easy way.
Quick fix,
instead of just really concentrating on the food. So it took a lot. I worked with Mike Dolce from Dolce Fitness. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Yeah.
He's really the one who kind of keyed in on like whole foods. Like there's no quick fix. But now it all comes that you hear it all the time. Macros.
Calories in, calorie out kind of guy.
Once we get, what I do is I make everybody get an in-body scan. From there, I'm going to see what your BMR is. Depending on your BMR, we're going to know how many calories you burn without touching anything or moving your ass one bit. And then I could base a caloric deficit or surplus, whatever your goal is. Then we dial in your macros, how much protein you should have, how much carbs you should have, how much fat. And as long as you're consistent within that number, it's science. You cannot, it's bulletproof. So there's no fad or nothing, but I've got so many different approaches for people. I really just fill them out. What is your why?
Yeah.
Tell me your schedule. What time do you go to bed? Do you drink alcohol? Then we can kind of just narrow it down and just say, I think this is going to work for you. Give me 3 months and this is what we should be at. So everybody is different, but as long as you're consistent, everyone's the same.
I think if you just keep your, I've always thought about this, if you keep your protein the same and then kind of fill in the fats and the things on the backside.
Protein, especially as we get older, I tell people, most dudes I'll talk to, like, dude, how do I get ripped? I'm like, how much protein are you? Like, I don't know. It's got to be a bunch. All right, walk me through your day. They're like, I have like 2 eggs, like turkey sandwich.
I don't think they don't process how much they have.
I'm like, cool, you're at like 70?
Yeah, it's not enough
protein.
protein.
How much should I have? I'm like, how much you weigh? Like 225? I'm like, at least 200 grams of protein? Like
at least 1 gram.
It's 1 gram of protein per, and I told them like, all right. You think they went home and started? No. But I tell people before anything, I'm like, let's just, and with me, it's been different. When I was CrossFit owned this, it'd be like, hey, we're going to stop drinking. We're going to stop smoking. You're going to go paleo. You're going to work out 6 days a week. And they're looking at me like,
it's unsustainable.
Now I'm like, hey, if you're drinking 4 days a week, Friday and Saturday, let's Just go out Friday, but make sure you get to the gym. If you're smoking a pack of cigarettes a week, let's try and do like half a pack. And then every week you kind of just branch
slowly taper it off.
And that's how I felt, not just cutting cold turkey because they never last.
It's just like the quick fix.
Yeah.
You know, and do you struggle with this in the industry, how fake social is with the fitness world, and how I got to talk to my girl all the time because I'm like, that person's on drugs. She's like, how can you tell? I'm like, listen, I know that they're on drugs. And she's like, how is that possible?
You're talking PEDs, correct?
Yeah, 100%. I'm like, how can you tell? I'm like, okay, there's no way she or he can be naturally that big and that shredded all year long. No ifs and buts are about. It's impossible.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's impossible, just so you know. And then, or girls, I'm like, there's no way that girl is naturally that shredded.
She's got an Adam's apple.
Yeah, exactly. But the hard part too is, I think when you're not in the space, everyone just thinks steroids, when it's like there's so much more than that nowadays.
I've done the PEDs, I've done the SARMs, I've done just about everything because I've wanted it so bad, but nothing replaces hard work. And I know it sounds so cliche. I've never ran TRT for years, but that's because I was naturally low. So when someone comes to me like, hey, should I get on testosterone replacement therapy? I'm like, well, what are your numbers at? Like, I don't know. I'm like, first and foremost, go get your blood work done. Dude, they'll be at like 900. I'm like, do not touch your freaking test. That's brilliant. But yeah, I prescribe, things to fill in supplements, SARM-wise or anything like that, as long as they're healthy. Like, you got to give up one thing for the other. And I've ran gear before, and I never have been big. I've gotten a little bit of a difference.
Well, I think it just maxes out your body potential. That's why,
and I met buddies that are on steroids, and they're not changing, but they're still partying 5 nights a week.
Yeah.
They're skipping the gym.
That's why when people like talk crap on professional bodybuilders, they're like, oh, you're all geared up. Bro, listen.
That's his life, and that's like
it's
still not that
gear,
easy.
it's this, it's fitness, it's weight. Like, it's not just
that dude
gear.
is still weighing his food. He's eating 7,000 calories a day. He's eating 300 grams.
He's probably training twice a day.
The steroids are doing minimal amount. All that does is give you a couple extra reps. It doesn't just, there's so much. And my wife used to laugh at me so much because our counter would just be full. It'd be like the protein, the creatine, the EAs, this, and she's like, why is this everywhere? But she's watching me fill up my shakers.
Yeah.
And I'm structured, dude. Like, I have my overnight oats ready. I've got my protein shakers ready. And now that she's been doing CrossFit and doing the stuff, now she's got her shakers out. She just did a Zoom last night with all of our team. We also health coach with a big team. And she's sitting there and she's like, well, yeah, and then I take the EAs and then the scoop of creatine after. And I'm just watching her.
Who are you?
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Tell me about how you do all this, But it's cool to see that ripple effect. But yeah, man, it goes back to consistency. If I talk to somebody and they're like, I give them their supplement regimen and what they need to be doing, it's like, this is 7 days. Well, if I go out of town Saturday and Sunday and don't work out, this is 7 days. You have to do it. They'll get back and they're like, oh, I didn't have them Saturday or Sunday. I'm like, dude, you've got it sounds bad, but you have to do it.
It's funny. Monday, we talked to my team and we were doing a thing. And I was like, listen, I'm not expecting you to work 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Let's just get 4 every day. I go, the problem is what happens is you won't work Monday through Thursday, or let's make it even bigger for the year. You've just burned the last 5 months, and now you're like, I gotta have a great rest of the year. I gotta go 80 hours a week, and then you go that for like a week, or if that, and then you burn out, and it's like, just keep it consistent. It's all about, because we have a call on Mondays, like anywhere between like 500 to 900 agents, all nationwide, and I wasn't on the call, but my girl's like, man, that just wasn't, I had some people on there and it just wasn't a good call. I'm like, well, what was not good about it? She's like, everyone just kept saying consistency. Yeah. I said, that's why that's everyone's problem. She's like, what's that? I go, you think it's some magic sauce. It's literally consistency.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I've been posting on, people are like, how does social work for you? I'm like, I've posted 5,000 times on Instagram. Yeah. You post down 5,000 times, sooner or later something will work.
I'll tell you what, man, becoming more consistent on social media, because I used to be big. I'm like, well, what if I'm bugging? I don't just say this now, but now I'm so consistent. Now my friends are starting to go, all right, dude, Jake's on the sauce. Like, something's going on. What's this guy doing? And I'm getting the attention because I'm living authentically and I'm living out loud.
You're just sharing.
If there's something that's on, like, and I do this, I would not have done a year ago. I'd have been like, hey, bud, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though I was a vocalist and I sang in front of people,
it's different.
And that comes with confidence too. But now, what I talk about so passionate, and this is my life, so I'm consistently talking about what I do.
I think everyone is scared that someone's going to think they're a phony.
Yeah.
And so I try to tell people all the time, it's like, oh, what's the scripts you use? Or it's like, just be real.
Yeah.
Like if you don't, if you're just real, and if you're selling something that you don't really believe in, don't sell that anymore.
Yeah.
People come to me all the time like, oh, why don't you sell? You're great. I'm like, I know nothing about that product. I don't back it.
Yeah.
If I start trying to sell that, then I'll just be phony.
Yeah. And that's what's coming. I'm going on this weekend will be 60 days without a sip of alcohol. We had a couple drinks for our 1-year anniversary. Last year I went, and I've been slowly coming off the sauce, but last year with the physique and stuff, I was 8 months sober, but then it just came to the point where it would be 1 or 2 drinks. Oh, if I go watch UFC fights, I'm going to have one. Then it became like, why am I having one? And now that I've been living this way, I can be more real with myself. And I'm not saying sobriety for everyone. I'm not preaching, don't drink. But for me, when I'm speaking on camera now and I'm telling people I'm sober and what it's done for me, I feel
I'm at 6 months.
Confident. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I feel more confident, and like, not that I didn't buy my own bullcrap back in the day, but that's, like you said, with the confidence last year, even looking in the mirror and I'm 5% body fat and I'm shredded, there was still not the confidence because I wasn't living
the life
100% what I was preaching. So I'd do a story and that one didn't work. And hey guys, what's up? Hey guys, what's up, man? Today, I didn't do that either.
Yeah.
So now I just hit play, and even my wife saw me. She's like, how do you do it like that? I'm like, because it's me now.
It's just me being me.
I'm not trying to say what do these people want to hear. I'm going, what do I want to tell these people? Like what? And I try not to say I'm perfect. I wake up and I go, hey, I've been it. My friends know I was a piece of crap, like I was a bad dude sometimes.
But you got to admit that there are going to be struggles. Like I get so mad at people like, she listens to all these, so I don't really, but something my girlfriend does, she goes, oh, that's easy. I'm like, no, it's not. No. Stop saying it's easy. It's not. It's really, really hard. Yeah. And she's like, why do you say that? Because the moment you say it's easy, then you don't put the effort in to put the work in. It's really hard. Yeah. It's like I preach. I talk to a lot of events and stuff, and I always say like, cool, the average income in America is $54,000. So don't sit up here and say you're going to make 6 figures and not work. Yeah. If so, everyone would make it. Yeah. I'm like, less than 18% of people in America make $100,000 a year. Yeah. Like, let's stop acting like that's actually that show that the podcast I just listened to called My First Million. I actually think I'm gonna start a podcast called My First 100K.
Was that the Rob one?
That's the Rob one.
First one?
Yeah, you gotta listen to it. It's amazing. Right. But like for me, it's like, let's stop talking about 1 million. Let's just get people to 100.
Yeah.
And then 100, and then after 100, let's not talk about making 200. Let's talk about making 100 and making and profiting half of that.
Yeah.
And then what do we do with that $50,000? Like, I tell people all the time, I'm like, I've made way more money than I ever thought I was gonna make in my life, and I spent way more money than I thought I'd ever.
That's just say I always had that mentality because being on the band, I'll tell you, when people are like, "Man, you live such a great life. You're a rock star." I was getting a $10 a day per diem.
Yeah.
If I sold a shirt, we're fighting over that $25 we just made between 6 of us just so we can go get a pack of smokes.
Yeah.
Dude, we're picking up cigarette butts off the ground. We were stealing beers from, dude, Hatebreeds, All That Remains, all these big bands. While they're on, we're just up in there. We're just boom, taking their stuff. And people knew us. We were the Motley Crue of 2000. Back then we thought it was the coolest thing, but it taught us so much about money now and how to respect that because you're in a different state every day with $10. Like, how are you going to spend that $10?
Yeah.
And my bass player, Clint, who Whiskey Republic, that dude would just pocket it. By the end of the tour, he'd get home, he'd have like a couple $100. I'm like, what? He's like, dude, we got free beer and food every night. What'd you have to spend your money on? I'm like, what did I spend my money on?
Dude, that happened to me when I had to go to the Dominican for 4 months one winter. And I was like, I was going down there because Major League Baseball was looking at me, and I was like, I'm going down there for 2 reasons. 1, to get looked at, and 2, to save as much money as possible. Because we were making like $165 a day or something. I don't remember. It was like good. It was good money for me back then. Anyways, I told myself, I'm like, you're going to live off per diem. You're not going to touch your salary, and your money is going to last a whole month. So we get done, and like we had safes or whatever, and I'm pulling out my money, and the guy's like, one of the guys that was with me, he was like, dude, how the hell do you have so much money? Like, what are you talking about? He's like, how did you save over $10,000? I go, well, like, I didn't drink the whole time I was here. Yeah. I was like, your ride home every night, you would stop at the local liquor store, buy everyone drinks in the car, buy yourself drinks, blah blah blah.
That would be me. I would buy fans drinks because that was just me. I had $10 and I'm like, hey, let me get 4 beers because I met three new people.
And I just said, I was like, I'm not here to make, and I would tell people, I'm not here to make friends with these guys. I'll never see them again in my life. I'm here to make money for my family and help my career. Yeah. So they hated working with me because it would be me as an American, then 3 local guys from there, and we get in the car. I'm like, Get me home.
Yeah.
We're not stopping. I don't care. Get me home. Because all I want to do is get home, call at the time my fiance, call her, and go to bed.
Yeah.
So that I could wake up and do the next thing the next day. Like, I don't need to waste any money here.
Yeah.
I'm here for one reason at all.
If I could go back, man.
Oh my God. I just read a book called Profit First the other day. If I could just started that 8 years ago, oh my God, my life would be so different.
I'll tell you what, man, we'd probably be getting some Grammy nominations if we actually had some business. But it also taught me a lot of business because I mean we had to run it like a business, but we were still kids. So there's so many things, but without what we went through and the experiences, I would not be who I am today.
I mean, you got to look at everything as a life experience, and that leads up to where you're at now. Where if that never happened, then you wouldn't be here, and then it's just there's so many moving parts to this, and it's like years and years and years. And so we always say like it's hard to copy someone if you don't know what they're thinking and what the experience they have. Yeah. Like you can copy someone everything they do, and it might not come out the same way. You know what I mean?
I look at what I've accomplished in the last 20 years, and now being 41 and going, what am I going to accomplish in these 20 years, knowing what I already did wrong back then? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how I'm moving forward, and that's where Second Life really just kind of Second Life came. I broke my neck in 2003. I was in a really bad car accident. Doctors went through my vocals, told me I'd never scream again.
Yeah.
And being at that age, I'm just at our peak of starting to become where we were. It was. I wanted to just basically.
Yeah, you thought your life was over.
I wanted to end my life.
Yeah.
Dude, if I don't get my vocals back, this is it. This is all I had. But once they came back, recovered, got the neck brace off, everything was healed. That's where I wrote the song "Second Life Ahead," and that kind of stuck with me. Although I took life for granted, moving on to where I am now, it was those learning lessons to progress into the man I am. And that was addiction. That was divorce. That was selling gyms. I worked on the railroad for 2 years. That was blood money.
Yeah.
That's really where I would say I hit my all-time low, was getting away from fitness for the 2 years. Just like, I don't want to deal with fitness, and sold the gym, and I'm done with social media, and kind of just hit as a conductor on the railroad. And that just, watching these guys just live that hard life. And
dude, it's tough.
I wasn't seeing my kid. I was making $180,000 a year.
It's tough.
I didn't even see that money. I'd come home. I had a nice apartment in Canyon Crest, had the nice truck. I never saw it. I was paying child support for a kid I never even saw, and just watching my daughter not being able to see her. That's where I was like, and I just walked away.
Well, then it leads to substance abuse.
And I got on the opioids because my back was hurting.
Yeah.
I was drinking a bottle of vodka every night. My friends, I would see them like, what's going on? And I didn't know I was addicted to opioids, but one turned into two, turned into three, and all of a sudden I'm swallowing 6 with a bottle of vodka.
They're scary to me.
It was, at that point, I don't really remember the feeling, but my friends were just like, dude, I was an animal, and I didn't know it. I felt great. My back wasn't hurting. I'd get on the railroad, and it was just one of those things. But without that, that's where finally I was like, I'm done. Mm-hmm. Cut those cold turkey, became a different man. And I started back at the bottom, went to my buddy who owns the Fitness 19s. And it was 2019. I was like,
is that Mike in?
What's that?
Mike?
No, this was Victor owns Fitness 19s, and my buddy Al.
Yeah.
Went to high school with these guys, and I went in, talked to my boy, and I was like, hey, I want a position. He's like, I don't really have any management. I'm like, no, I want to start from the bottom.
Yeah.
And he kind of looked at me. He's like, but okay. I started minimum wage, 30.
You had to rehumble
37,
yourself.
38 years old, started minimum wage, started working the floor, started sales, then it slowly moved up to fitness trainer. And then that's when COVID hit, right as I was kind of moving up the ladder, Fitness 19. And, thank God that happened, because that's when Angela and I started dating, moved in with her very fast. And then that's when the coaching, that's really where, all right, it's go time.
Yeah.
So
how have you liked the transition of working with people in person to over online now?
I'm still getting used to it, but I feel there's more freedom for myself and the client, because I have 24/7 access to them. They can call me any time of the day. They can call Angela anytime. It's not as personable, but also the money they're spending with online coaching as opposed to personal training, I could give them a lot more.
Yeah.
Their macros, their calories, their shopping lists. I do a cooking show now that they can watch. So I can offer a lot more than, let's say, if they come see me. And I'll do in-person training. I have a couple clients, but I got to charge them somewhat to like $50 to $75 just for that one session.
And the hard issue is driving there. Time to drive, workout, time to drive back. Like it just eats up time.
And when I owned my gym, I think I had a $18,000 a month overhead.
Yeah,
a lot of my employees and staff, and my members didn't even know how much I was pulling out of my pocket at that time. Like
100%.
If something broke, that was on me. So I think I went through a $70,000 in savings just to pay some of my employees once in a while. But going from $18,000 a month, like, to now here's
a
couple $100 a month.
Oh, dude, I'll tell you what, in the real estate space, it's been booming since 2020.
Yeah.
Actually, it's been pretty good, whatever. But like, that's the thing that it's the hubs and flow of the market, which you need these hubs and flows because it almost like keeps everyone in check. It's like, oh crap, it's kind of things have shifted a little bit. This is changing. Like we're, like let's save some money. Let's cut them things back. Like, it's part of owning a business. Yeah.
And not saying online coaching isn't just what the internet makes it out to be. Like, become an online coach, make your first 40,000 in your first month. It's like, no, because you still got to do the things. You got to be real. You got to be authentic. You got to be available.
Well, you're competing against so many other people.
Yeah.
You have to. It's I yell at Zach all the time because he does personal training online too, and I'm like, dude, you don't post enough stuff on content online. You're like, dude, I'm like, dude, it's like you got to start, like, you have to become your own brand.
Yeah.
Because
I don't go anywhere without my second life because I eat, sleep, and live second life.
Well, here's the thing. Why would you support anyone else's business?
I will. I do.
Like, I don't. Like, I'm not wearing Nike nothing. Like, I'm pitching things that have Nikes on here,
to me,
dude.
it's not competition. Like we mentioned before, man. We had the conversation about Miguel. Miguel with Self-Made is just killing it. And we can both look at each other and we both commented on some stuff yesterday just saying how proud we were of each other because of how far. And he's paved such a great brand. And I'm if somebody comes to me like, hey, I need a personal trainer. I don't want to do online. Well, I'd probably go, hey, go to Self-Made, or hey, go to this person, or go to Justin over at Elite and Jared, so I still assess each client. If it's not a good match, I don't just take any client. I'm at the point now where I have to make sure it's going to be a good it's a first date.
Well,
and if I'm not doing this,
yes.
I'm not, if you're like, Jake, I'm going to eat pizza every day, but I want you to train me. I'll go, no, dude, it's not, this isn't going to work.
Do you think a lot of people just need accountability?
100%.
Dude, I swear to God, accountability. I need accountability.
I pay.
You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. I'm in my bag, got my eyes on the price. You know I can waste no time, cause I gotta keep it tight. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me. Give me the bass, give me the beat. I'm in my bag, this round is on me.
Money, I know what I'm doing, and I pay a coach every single month. I have 3 different coaches, so mindset, nutrition, and fitness. So I pay for all 3 of those. I need the accountability.
Yeah.
And not only that,
and most people don't want that.
Yeah.
That's the craziest thing I tell people. It's accountability is what gets, like, my staff is my accountability. I have to make sure they get paid.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a choice.
It's the alpha in us too. And most guys, and that's kind of my avatars, is the 35 to 55-year-old men who just like, oh, if they do go back, I know what I'm doing and this and that. Yeah. But it's like, no, dude, like, let's do it right the first time. I'm not going to have you for the rest of my life, but let me teach you what you need to do. What worked in the high school weight room isn't working for you now.
Well, it's just,
and you're not the same person that
your genetics are different. You know what I mean? Like, the one thing I do hate about, cause I've been trying to get on, it's something I need to do, but I've been pushing, like, keto? Get on TRT. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, fuck you. I tried keto once. It was awful.
When we're talking about that, you love cheese and bacon, right?
Dude, I love carbs. Yes. My body, I'll take, like, I think my macros were, I think at the time I was like 165. So when I was really shredded, so I was 165 protein a day. And that was like, I don't remember my fats were like 50.
Yeah.
Like, I was
we'll go back after you tell me the story. We'll go back to the macros and the carbs and keto when people are like, I can't eat that many carbs. Like, but have you tried eating that many carbs? Yeah. And have you done it consistently?
Dude.
Because I was the same way last year. When he gave me my numbers to be a physique competitor, I'm like, I'm going to get shredded with that amount of carbs. He goes, just trust the process.
Dude.
And every day I'm like eating my oatmeal going, are you sure? And I'm taking dextrose post-workout, which is a simple
carb. Yeah.
Simple carb.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and all of a sudden I'm like 10%, 9%, 8%. And then he ups my protein and then he lowers my, and I'm like, oh, this is real crap. You know? So,
but anyways, I've been trying to get on TRT, to be honest.
Okay.
Like, I've done my blood work multiple times, like a few times. The thing that sucks is that it's such a taboo thing. Like, you can't go to your just straight, like, I'm at Kaiser. Every time I go to Kaiser, first off, I've been getting blood work since 30.
Okay.
I'm 35.
Okay.
The first day I walked in, I was like, hey, I want my testosterone ran, I want this run, this run. They're like,
tell them what
they're like, but you're 30. I'm like, I know. They're like, but why? I go, because I need to know.
Yeah.
If I want to have a baseline 30, then I did it the next year. And I was like, listen, it's going down. I assume a lot of it is stress.
It's everything.
That's why I cut out alcohol.
Yep.
I was like, I'm stressed out of especially
I don't know the exact percentages, but just within the last 20 or 30 years, the average low, it used to be in your 50s. Now the average age is like 25.
Do you think it's food?
It's the air, it's the water, it's the food, it's the lifestyle, it's the stress, it's the Instagram, it's everything.
It's everything, right?
Everything, dude.
And so that's like, and then too, another reason why I want to get on is my dad's 65 and I think he needs to get on it, but he's like, doesn't want to do it. Yeah. So if I do it, then I think he'll do it. And I'm not having kids, so it's like, whatever. But for me, it's like, it's such a taboo thing to talk about that it's like, dude, it's like, you should be getting blood. I've been getting blood work since 30. Yeah. So it's not like I'm making this rash decision just because I want to be shredded. I can see the stats. It's all based on numbers.
So I got put on TRT when I was 30 years old.
Yeah.
And I was already, this was after, I think Manchester already broken up, the lifestyle. Yeah, I was still drinking and partying, but I was a personal trainer, but I was like falling asleep at the desk.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, I'm only 30 and, I didn't go out last night. Like, why am I so tired? And then I just was so lethargic and I'm like, something's happening. I went and got my TRT and it was, I won't even say the number because it was so low. But my doctor at the time, he was like, he even told me, he's like, oh, you don't need it. You're 30. You're a personal trainer. You eat great. You tell me your diet. And I'm like, can we please just check it? He goes, fine, we'll do it. And he calls me, he gives me the number. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, am I even a man right now? Like, what's happening, dude? So it was so low and he put me on the gel, which I didn't like. And finally I had to get rid of this doctor. Somebody gave me another doctor here in Riverside, Couture. He's a great, great guy. And finally him and I came up with the whole plan and what to do and what not to do. And I've religiously been on it for 12 years. And I don't abuse it. I keep my numbers.
That's the thing. You can't abuse it.
You cannot abuse it. There's such long-term bad effects of going over the number. So most doctors, if you get in the 300-400, like, oh, you're good. But as men, and to feel it and to be able to
you gotta be at 8-9,
perform and have the libido that we need, it's 800, 900. I feel the best. So, and I tell people all the time in their 20s and 30s, if they get their blood work and they're at like 700, I tell them, I'm like, I wouldn't even mess with that until you start decreasing a little bit more because God, I wish I could have that natural number back.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Like I was trying to tell someone the other day. I'm like, dude, I'm like, when you're like, there's hubs and flows and stress and whatever. It's like I just need like consistency. Like, you know what I mean? It's and like
that's what's hard once you get on the TRT too, man. Is just being consistent. And people can't even take their protein shake most of the time. They're not gonna be able to do that. So you're gonna have this rapid spike of.
Do you do 3 shots a week or no?
I do 2.
Okay.
I'm at 2. I was doing 1, but I would find
you peak and then
placebo. Maybe scientifically I wasn't, but come the day or 2 before I need that shot, I'd just be like, oh, I'm just low T.
Well, but here's the thing. You are spiking and then you are going down. So it's like you should split it up.
After years of doing this, I finally found the number. It keeps me within that 700, 800, 900 if I go a little bit more on that week, if I know I'm going to have a good weekend. But twice a week seems to be the best for me. That's where I don't ever feel a crash. This is me.
But like I think the one great thing now with social and YouTube are people that talk about it.
Yeah,
it's like because like 5 years ago, no one knew what SARMs were or none of that. Peptides are big. Yeah.
But even with TRT, there's still the Andrew Hubermans and the guys like that are so anti. And I tried. I tried to get off naturally, so I did the Tunga Ali. I did the Fidasia, whatever the heck it's called. My diet's perfect. I stopped drinking, and I rechecked. I'd not for like I think 3 months. Perfect supplements, perfect food, no alcohol.
It's just irreplaceable, dude. And it's so hard because everything's such a money grab on the supplement side of it. Yeah. That's the thing I hate about it's like, bro, you're juiced up. No, I'm not saying that's wrong, but it's like it's not your BCAAs you're taking.
Nah.
You're not. Nah. It's not your pre-workout.
God, I'd be Arnold Schwarzenegger with the BCAAs, bro. I'd drink those things.
Dude, have you watched Arnold's documentary?
I just started it last night.
Dude, we finished it last night.
What a life.
I always respected him, but holy crap, what a G. I got on the first episode
so far, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of. I mean, I grew up watching Commando, and I was just laughing with my brother-in-law about what was not kindergarten. Yeah, it was Kindergarten Cop. We were making the phrase of the Kindergarten Cop, but dude, I grew up on
what a G he is. He was a very smart dude with buying real estate and dude, very smart.
Very good dude.
Yeah,
he definitely wasn't on TRT.
Yeah, I know, right?
It was all BCAAs.
Yeah, exactly. It's those BCAAs back.
But his stuff back then was probably just like pure. I mean, even the food back then too, and. That's what goes with it, man. That's our society, and that's why I'm in business, is because our food has become, I mean, even the quality of food we're eating now, it's so sad just to see these people that are, I'm gonna do something funny with social media, and I see the line at Chick-fil-A, and I'm not dogging it. You guys have to get Chick-fil-A, get it at Starbucks, but the amount of time people spend in these drive-thrus and tell me that they're too busy to spend 30 minutes, and I'm like, what?
Well, we just deleted. I had a real conversation with my girl yesterday. I was like, we just need to like no more Hulu, no more Netflix. Like I got locked into. I have a problem. I get locked into shows. Okay. I got locked into Suits. It was 9 seasons.
I almost hit play on that.
Do not.
We don't watch a whole lot of TV. It's like I get that like maybe 8:30 to 9:30. Most of the time it's YouTube. I try and educate.
I love YouTube.
Sometimes I want to we just finished Ted Lasso.
Oh.
I was a little bit, finally people were talking. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to watch anything deep or dark. I want something just stupid and funny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fine, I'm not even a football fan, but I'm going to put this on.
Yeah.
And dude, we binge watched like 3 episodes at night. And then we're like, wait, 3 seasons? That's it?
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes I don't tell people it's bad. As long as you accomplish what you needed to in that day, who cares? Put your feet up and watch a little TV.
Dude, my problem is I get locked in and it bemes obsessive. Right. And then it's like a goal. I'm like, I'm finishing this. Yeah. Like I told, like it was maybe 2 weekends ago. I'm like, I got 6 episodes left. That's 6 hours. I'm going to get up early. I'm going to knock this thing out so you can just leave me alone.
Most of the time I'll put the TV show on and I'm still working from my phone, so I don't feel so bad. I'm not like fully dialed in with the recliner.
I actually went and bought a book yesterday. I haven't done that in a while.
I can't get in. I'm more of the Audible kind of guy.
Okay.
So last year was the first year I think I've actually finished 3 books. But I'll go to start to read a book and I'm like 5 pages in. I'm like, I'm so, what's it called? Not ADD, but I'm like, squirrel. And, wait, what was those 2 chapters about? So
my biggest thing is I just hate all the fluff. So I started realizing like I'll speed read really fast, or I'll jump chapter to chapter to see what I really want to talk, like what I want to get. And then sometimes I get mad. Like I'm just like, book was filler.
I try and fill a lot of it with podcasts. I watch a lot of Andy Frisella, Rob Dyrdek, Andrew Huberman, Rogan. But Rogan, it's just like 2 hours. I'm like, I get to the first 30.
I like the clips.
I watch the clips.
I like the clips. Yeah. So what's the next step for you? What if in a year we're having a conversation? What would have been the next 12 great months?
My business, just expanding. The goal is, and I say it and it's cliche, but to help as many people as possible in this world. Mm-hmm. I just did a story today. If I could just help one person a day for the rest of my life, I'd be able to die happy, man.
Yeah.
So my goal is build my brand. I got some t-shirts launching. The website's launched. That's it, man. I just want to be
Start a podcast,
yes. Why you renting out your office?
No, people can use this place.
That has been in the books, but it again, that comes with confidence. That comes with consistency. So I threw it out in the universe a year ago, but I wasn't mentally ready for it.
Yeah.
I think I am. I just need the space for it and the setup. I actually bought like $400 worth of podcast equipment at one point. I'm like, if I buy it, it will come.
Yeah.
And it's dusty now. Yeah. So it just, the timing has to be right. I have to, this new endeavor of the online fitness coaching is where my heart is right now. And just building the brand and the structure and just staying consistent with my posts. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. It's, I tell that because a lot of people hit me up about podcasting or whatever. And I say, especially like people that live in different cities are like, oh, I want to do like real estate people. And I'm like, great. But that means you got to sit down with people and be able to hold a conversation for an hour. Can you do that? And if you know you can't, it's just not gonna work.
And I think that was it too, is if I was starting, I'm like, can I fill that hour with it? And now I think I'm at the point I can, and I'll have gas. And mine was kind of do almost what you're doing, like speak to the restaurant owners, like I was saying, Dre from Arts and Gary Romano, and getting business owners, Miguel's and stuff like that, and bringing people in that we could just not just one thing, but every aspect, restaurant owners, fitness industry. So
because as every conversation I have with people, it's like the model is all the same for whatever you want to be successful at. It's like, be disciplined, have the right people around you, work hard, be consistent. Like, it's not it's not science.
Isn't it strange?
I always say, like, if you just follow every Instagram post,
there's a blueprint.
If you just see every motivational post ever on Instagram, if you just follow that, you'll be just fine. But no, it's one of those things where, like you said, it's like, it's hard to balance everything. Like right now, the way I'm in life and is like I have no motivation to eat right or work out. I can cut. I train for a marathon,
and that's honest to yourself until you say I'm ready. But
as I was saying, like I just ran 26 miles. That's 16 weeks of training. I got that done. I ran 20 miles a night, whatever, all that stuff. But it's like, do I want to do the work? Like I just honestly, you know what it is. I will say this. It goes back to confidence or whatever you want to say it, but. When I got shredded in 2020, I admit I took SARMs, and what really it's an aspect that people talk about it, but when you come off and you lose strength, you lose motivation really fast, and that is something that probably for me hinders me is like the remembering those days, and being like can I ever get like I love going in there and lifting, like moving like. I've never been really strong, but like moving good weight for me, like being able to deadlift 225, being able to row 100, like being able to do those things. It's like almost like the fear factor, like, well, will I ever be able to get back there?
Yeah.
And that is something where I try to, there's been a few other people that after that hit me up like, oh, I want to do it.
But if you have to ask yourself, you're already kind of just putting, I'm looking for the word, but you're already throwing it out there that you can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You're giving an excuse.
So for me, like I said with the physique, I'm like, I'll never have a six pack.
Yeah.
I'll never. Now I will have a six pack. I will do a physique comp. So my goal for next year is I'm going to do one physique comp, one CrossFit comp, and one Spartan.
Yeah.
That's kind of on the radar. I'll probably do a little bit in between, but I've already thrown that to the universe and say I will. Like I just signed up for DECA. I just heard about DECA. Have you heard of DECA? It's like it's the Spartan CrossFit functional thing, but they're doing it without running. Not saying I walk every morning, but I'm not a runner anymore. But I just threw it out there. I'm like, I'm going to sign up for it. My wife.
That's the thing. You got to sign up.
So I just did it, and it's in 2 weeks, and I have not trained CrossFit in. I mean, I've covered a couple classes at my.
Yeah, but you're not. It's not every week. Yeah,
I'm in bulking phase.
Yeah.
Like I'm like cosmetics right now. I don't care how functional. I can't squat.
Yeah.
Put me in a squat. I'm not going below parallel. I'll tell you that. My knees are caving in.
Yeah.
But I threw it out in the universe, and I'm like, this is, I want to be that type of fitness trainer that's not just one dimensional. And even though the new company or the new people I'm grabbing, they don't know I owned a CrossFit gym. They don't know I used to do CrossFit comps. They don't know I powerlifted back in the day. They don't know I ran Warrior Dad, did all the things. I don't throw it out there that much. So next year, as a fitness connoisseur, fitness enthusiast, like I want to show people what's possible. Even though I go from stage at 6% body fat, I'll turn around and I'll go do a CrossFit comp. So that's
how do you feel about CrossFit for the average person?
That's a hard one, dude. That's so.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Dang it, dude. All right, show's over.
Yeah, cancel.
No, I love it as long as it's a good coach.
Okay.
It all comes down.
You think the coach is the most important?
The coach is the most important.
Yeah.
And although I was never the best CrossFit athlete, I think I was a great coach just because I was so aware. I started as a personal trainer, went to small group training, went to group training, went to boot camp. Then I was in a CrossFit atmosphere. So I didn't just start coaching 12 people in class. All right, grab your barbells. We're going to go buck wild, music's up, checking form. So for me, when I had my classes, dude, my 430 class, I'd have an average of 30 people in my class, but I was constantly moving,
watching everyone,
watching. Hey, Sue, put that bar down. Hey, this, don't do that.
It's almost like it's almost like you're there to like not allow people to go past the rev limiter.
Yeah.
Because I think that's when you get
and a lot
caught.
of these great, and I saw it throughout. A lot of these great CrossFit athletes were not good coaches. They were good at what they did, but they could not.
There's a difference.
They couldn't explain that to
100%.
the person. So I love CrossFit. I love the methodology. It's still around. It's still killing it. Richard up at CrossFit Riverside is a god in this industry. So it comes down to coaching. Same with personal training. Same with a boxing instructor. If you're not a good coach, you're not going to get good results. And so many people turn to these commercial gyms and these 22-year-olds have ripped abs, but they have zero experience. They pay $400 for an online cert that they not even use. They just, well, this worked for me. They don't know how to give you a proper diet.
It's just like they're 22. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Because the other thing too is like maybe someone's body doesn't move that way in a certain way, and it's like if you don't have the experience with someone or the experience in general to be like, I can't put someone in that position. Yeah. They're not be able to get out of that.
Dude, when I coach my CrossFit class, people try and pick up the prescribed weight, and I'm like, put that bar down. And they'd look at me like they'd get ready to quit because I'd have to, and I'm like, I do not want you to get injured right now.
Yeah, because then it's done.
It to myself.
Then it's done.
Yeah. Then it's me, and they're like, oh man, I got injured at CrossFit. Well, no, Debbie, you got injured at CrossFit. Like I tried to help you. So it's just like anything else. And I didn't even want to start doing fitness, online fitness, until again, I was confident and consistent enough to be able to coach these people through a Zoom, through my app that I use, through the diet that I know is going to work for them. So I wasn't, although this has been in the pipeline for 3 years, this is something I've been building behind the scenes to finally now go, I'm working with the right team. I invested in mentors to make sure I deliver what I need to deliver to these people. And it's results driven. So
yeah, love it. What's the best way that people get a hold of you?
Jake Sirokman Fit, Instagram.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the one.
Sweet. Send him a DM. Make sure you follow him. Go say if you want to get into fitness. Tell you this. I don't know too many people that don't get into that consistently hold themselves without accountability.
Yeah.
And I always say this to everyone. If you look at the most successful people around you, they have more people around them, not less people around them.
Well, people that are in your mentorship, I would say, to end it on that. My circle of friends have become a dot of friends because they're not in the same industry, but the amount of friends I've gained in the fitness community is really, you got to work with the best.
Exactly. So thanks, man. Appreciate it. You crushed it.
Thank you, brother.
I'm looking forward to your podcast.
Yeah, first guest.
First guest, yeah, for sure.
Right
yeah. The only problem about when you lead podcasts, when I go on podcasts, I have to tell my
tomorrow. So
I try to tell people I have to stop asking questions because then I start taking over the podcast. So
I'm gonna set my mic up in my garage and it's gonna be me at every story, not in my car anymore. It's just be like, hey, what's up?
Exactly. So thanks, man. Appreciate it. Until next time, guys. Peace.